Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Claw and the King podcast. I'm joined by my great friend, Oscar, aka Dopey. How's your week been?
My week has been very pleasant. Very
Has it?
pleasant, yeah.
Very pleasant.
You know, lots going on. Not just really boring week, but that's what we live for these days. You know?
Yeah. You always want to be
You
busy.
used to dream big when you were a kid,
Yeah.
but now all you can ask for is stability.
I don't know.
No, I'm joking.
Not much has been happening in the sport world. Maybe a bit more development onto some of the stuff we talked about last week, especially basketball-wise. But, yeah, I think that's where we probably should jump off first. We've got the NBA season in full fruition now. Obviously, the All-Star... Did we talk about All-Star Weekend last time?
No, it was before the All-Star weekend.
Okay. Well, we can brief...
we can review that fucking abomination of a
game, yeah. You're never going to fix it until you fix the players' mentality around it. And the way you fix the players' mentality around it is you create a concept in which they care. They don't care about East Coast, West Coast for the teams that they play for. Like we've suggested, or I've suggested at least in the past, they do it similar to how the NRL does it with State of Origin, where it should be where you're born instead of what team you play for. I just think you create an extra level of competition and feeling towards the game, and creating all these stupid like little rules and having like rookies play in the All-Star game. It's just silly. It's really silly, and I get they're trying to create competition through that, but I think you'll never get it to work, and the quality of it is just not where it should be. What did you make of the game? Did you have similar thoughts on it?
Well, I didn't even watch it, to be honest. And the first time in a long time, really, that I haven't watched the All-Star game. I used to look forward to it so much, and now it's just a travesty, really, what's happened to it. But I think it was... I mean, when we're reviewing the game itself, it was still a bad decision by the NBA and Adam Silver. I mean, I think the total playing time between the two first games and the final game was like 20 minutes or something. So you're and no one's said, "Oh, can we have like less game time? We just want more competitive game time."
Yeah.
So you're getting, and you ended up I believe the coverage was still the same length as previous All-Star games. So what you ended up getting was Mr. Beast doing some bullshit that nobody wanted to see, and Kevin Hart doing some bullshit that nobody wanted to see, filling 2 hours of dead space because they were like, "Oh, let's just not actually play basketball during the All-Star game. Let's just do other stuff."
The amount of breaks were ridiculous. It just felt so long and stupid. And then you'd get what was it, 30 points or 40 points or something like that.
Like that is literally in the All-Star game. That's over in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's less than one quarter.
Yeah.
It's just such a stupid concept. And look, you appreciate them trying new things to try and get people to be engaged with it, but clearly this plan had holes in it from the start, and I don't think anyone really understood it or liked the concept going into the game. But then, obviously, when you found out how it turned out, it didn't sort of turn anyone around on that fact. I think most people hated it by the end anyway. What do they do for future years? It
has to be World versus USA. Like that's just so obvious that it shouldn't even be a discussion at this point. Like that has to be the move.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. It should be World versus USA. And it goes back to where you're from and representing your country. And I think that people care about that. And obviously the world would care about that. And it'd create a stronger, opinion about the All-Star game. Even from a fan's perspective, you'd have more people actually or actively engaged in it. Because people will just turn it on now. Just, there's nothing on the TV. I'm doing nothing today. Might as well switch it on and have it on in the background. But people actively watch the game and actively root for a side. Unlike now where you're like, I don't know who's playing for who. Am I rooting for the OGs or the Young Bucks or whatever the fuck they called them?
The Young Bums.
Yeah. It was so scripted and so just fake in terms of everything that was made around the game, and very corporate and commercialized, and you've just got to change it. And I don't hate the World vs. USA. Now, the main complaint from people is going to be, well, you're going to get, people that don't deserve to be in the All-Star game. You're going to have people miss out. Well, too bad. I think, yeah, you're going to get Bogdanovic in there, but that's just...
Are you though? There's a lot of good world players.
Yeah. Well, maybe you shorten the rosters. Maybe you make it top 8 or something like that.
You could find... There's definitely 7 to 8 all-star level world players. Maybe not 12,
well,
but...
Who are they? Would it be...
Well, Embiid, Giannis, Jokic,
but Embiid
Doncic.
plays for the US.
No. Not in this, buddy.
Not in
this.
But they're all centers. You'll have 3 centers, 4 or 5 centers walking around.
So, Gobert,
yeah,
Luka,
yeah.
You've got players.
Shea,
You know,
yeah, you'd have.
Kyrie can play for
Yeah,
World.
you'd have a lot of Canada as well.
Yeah, Shea, Jamal Murray. Like, there's players.
Yeah. No,
You know, and okay, maybe some Americans that usually make it, like James Harden, might miss out or something. But fuck it, I don't really need to see James Harden in the All-Star game again.
No, I agree. I completely agree. Yeah, the world has so much talent now, and I think the format of East versus West is outdated. So I think, yeah, that's a good solution. Will they do it? Who knows? I mean, they'll probably come up with some stupid little concept instead, but I think that's what the root of it should be, and have, you know, actual pride put into a jersey. But yeah, but the problem is with that, there was already that kind of concept in this All-Star game. I mean, it was a world team, essentially.
Yeah.
And do the world players care about the world?
I think if you officially make it USA and you get 2, like similar to State of Origin, you pick 2 coaches at the start of the season that'll like selecting. Actually, yeah, they need to overhaul the system. Have 2 like Origin coaches that's their job, and they do the selections. Like scrap the media votes, all that sort of stuff, and just they pick the teams, and you come out with 2 captains who are leading the teams.
Well, it can't be an active coach, because then you'll get an Atlanta Hawks situation where you've got fucking Kyle Korver and Paul Millsap in the team.
Okay, so make it not an NBA coach then. There's hundreds of people out there that would do it.
Who? Like, would you do a former coach, a former player, or...
Yeah, you could do anyone. Like, get Dwayne Wade to do Team USA, and, I don't know, Dirk to do Team World or something like that. Because, like, they're not actually going to be coaching, really.
No.
Their job will just be selecting the team.
No, I get that. But yeah, the thing, like I said, do they care about the world? If the USA is playing against the world, is that gonna matter? Is that, I mean...
Well, I think you've seen, I don't know if you've watched the doc on Netflix, the Olympics doc that just came out.
I've watched parts of it, yeah.
Yeah, and you can see there that they definitely care about proving that USA is still the best basketball nation in the world. And you can see how much the European teams care. I mean, Serbia, Jokic clearly cares about Serbia more than he does the Nuggets.
Yeah, but they care about Serbia.
Yeah.
They don't care about...
But I feel like you can propose it to the players that it is an extension of that. Where obviously it's not Serbia, but it's still against America. And everyone that is an American wants to prove that they are better than the Americans.
Well, the main sort of rival to that idea has been making the winner of the game revert back to East versus West, and the winner of the game gets home court for the finals. Now, and I saw in Bill Simmons' podcast, he sort of suggested that you do that as well as having the All-Star selected from the top 6 seeds of each side. And that sort of makes that component of home court advantage important.
So that whoever wins the game, the team that wins the East gets the home court.
So say East wins, they get home court in the finals against a West team.
But what if you're, Cade Cunningham and you're playing for Detroit? You're obviously not going to win the East.
But that's part of it. But if you select from the top 6 seeds, and he has every, they're not like inhuman. They're not robots. Like, we have a 7% chance of winning. Like, he's going to believe it. They're on an 8-game win streak. That he's going to believe that they're going to go far and win the championship every year. Especially if they're playing well.
I guess, but in the grand scheme of things, is home court really that big of a thing?
I think it is valuable. I think it is definitely valuable. You get the first finals game at home. I think, yeah, you've got absolute value to it. I don't think it's not valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But then, yeah, I don't know. I prefer World versus USA. And I feel like you're honestly at the point anyway where you could field 2 teams from the West that could beat the East team. So there's still going to be that issue of competition.
Yeah. No, I don't hate it. It's just, it is figuring out a different way to do it. And we've got to see. And look, the main reason why we're talking about this is because the players have shown their inability to care about the game in the first place. I mean, it's been East versus West for many, many years. And then the modern day players said, hang on, what's the point in trying in this game? Now, I've thought maybe do you move the game? Is it not in mid-season? Do you do it? Obviously, they have their pre-season workouts. Maybe you do it in the pre-season, or you do it to kick off the season. You know, like the NRL's doing with Vegas, or it's a bit of a show to start, and it's to get them in the rhythm of it. And they might try harder to. I don't know, but maybe it's just the timing of the game itself is like, well, we're in the middle of the season, we don't want to get hurt. In preparation for the playoffs, what's the point? If you move the game, maybe you mitigate that fact. And you see, I mean, in their preseason workouts, even if they're just playing in a rec center, they're trying harder and they're competitive with other NBA players to try and get into shape and try and win. But for some reason, this game has got this feeling around it, like everyone's trying to not tread on anyone else's shoes, and it's damaging to the product. So yeah, I don't know what the solution is because no one does. It's just you're spitballing different ideas to sort of hope to find find a competitive nature within the game, but it's hard to sort of predict what these players will care about and what they won't care about.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the players are the only ones that can solve it. Like, the league can obviously provide circumstances to help them, but
you can't ask them as well, though. That's the thing. You can't, like, say, hey, what do you think will make this game better? Because they'll just be like, you make the prize money better. You make it, you give us more money.
Well, apparently this format was actually Steph Curry's idea. So, we found out that he doesn't have a career post-basketball.
Yeah. Well, good for him. He's made a lot of money, so he doesn't have to. But, let's not put him on the board of decisions for the All-Star game going forward.
But, yeah, and it's just such a weird thing now where if you see someone trying, I feel like all the other players just, like, look at them like, who do you think you are? Like,
yeah, I do remember, like, maybe at the start of when they were all kind of changing it, Giannis was actually coming into the All-Star game and he tried. I remember specifically, and all the other players are like, what are you doing, man? Yeah. And no one else tried. It was just him, and I think he won MVP because he was just like the only one that cared and was like actually playing defense and dunking and I don't know.
Sad times. I mean, we can also touch on while we're here that the Saturday night, I mean, that thing's broken as well. It started in the skills challenge where the Spurs get out there and
Chris Paul, bro,
and decide to throw the balls just on the floor, and that was their display of skill.
Did they not think that they would get like?
To be fair, I had thought that the entire time I've been watching it for years. Like, why don't you just? It's all about speed. Why don't you just yeet them up there and get through it?
Yeah, but like, surely you'd understand that they couldn't allow that to be the product. Like, they'd stop you from doing that. They'd kick you. There's no way that they'd be like, we're not going to... Well, they're not going to let them openly take a mockery of the contest. And yeah, it's stupid. Oh, well, yeah, after you take your third shot, you can go. Like, you can move on. That's a stupid idea anyway. But then, I guess, if you don't have that, it just becomes a case of who's the best shooter. Because that's a necessary skill in basketball. Yeah, but it's like, well... What if you've got like a skillful guy, like, I don't know, a big man who's a skillful guy, but he just can't hit a three? And then you're just stuck there for 2 minutes.
Well, then he's not the ultimate skill champion.
Yeah, but then it just becomes like Buddy Hield would win it every year. Or like they just, whatever decent shooter would win
but then Buddy Hield might not have the passing skills. The passing's a
but
fucking
everyone
joke.
could do that.
The hole is 4 meters big. I mean...
I could fucking do that. But then again, you want the product to be quick because it is a shit contest. So you don't want... to be watching someone try and pass it into like a tiny little hole for like 5 minutes, and you're just watching the guy just keep failing and failing and failing. The skill challenge is stupid anyway, but it's just something to fill the time, I guess.
Yeah. And then obviously the dunk contest, Mac McClung wins again.
It's just crazy. It's crazy that no one else can dunk. And people are saying, like, well, why don't they bring stars into it? And Ja Morant was doing it after the game.
Well, there was a lots of stars that came out on Twitter post.
Yeah, but people forget, Jaylen Brown was in it last year. Like, there were good players and all-star level players in it, but they stunk it up. They have no care for it because, again, it's the same thing that goes back to the all-star game. They're scared of getting injured, so they're not going to try something risky. Or they're not going to try something that's, out the box, that like Mac McClung jumping over a car, because the risk of getting injured is worse than actually, trying in the contest.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not going to get injured if you can do it. Like, Blake Griffin did it. He was a superstar at the time.
Yeah,
like
Dwight Howard.
When you're the best dunker in the world, which a lot of these guys are, you're not going to get injured doing that unless you're an idiot.
Well, yeah, I don't think it has to be star players. I don't think it has to be all-star level players. Like, the best dunk contest of all time, Zach LaVine versus Aaron Gordon. Back in that time, I mean, Zach LaVine was a young player at Minnesota, Aaron Gordon at Orlando. Both not great players. Like, at the time, they were young, so had a bit of potential, but really just role players at the time. But they were just unbelievable dunkers and had this creativity that others don't have.
Yeah, and then Derek Jones also had a great contest a few years ago, who's obviously not a noted player. But, yeah, it's just like, I mean, the Bucks guy, nobody probably knew who he was, and then he just goes out there and he looked like he struggled to do a basic dunk. Like a literal just 2 foot standing dunk. Yeah, a rim grade. Like I could do what he threw up there.
Flex.
And then the Bulls guy, fuck me, what was he doing?
Oh.
Just you got to get 4 people that can actually do. There has to be some sort of trial process, like a pre-screening. Like you have to be assessed to make sure you can actually do some sort of dunk.
But yeah, it's different though. Like I've seen Buzelis dunk in the NBA, and he can really he can actually dunk. But there's a difference between being able to like dunk in a game versus like actual creativity and being able to put yourself in obscure positions and then still being able to dunk. Like Max McClung, as soon as he dunked, you're like, okay, this is different. Because he's like probably practiced throughout his life just tricky dunk, like cool dunks. Like that's what he's done. But the others clearly just haven't dunked outside of a game. Or like tried anything ever. They probably just have like, I don't know, steak every night for dinner, bacon and eggs in the morning. They don't.
Buzelis doesn't look like he eats a lot of steak.
No, that's fair. Well, I can't judge, but he doesn't look like he eats a lot. But that's fine. He's a young guy. But no, I still can't get over sort of how bad that contest was outside of Mac McClung.
Castle was okay.
Yeah, but people are saying kick him out, and he's not in the NBA. But like, what would it have been without him?
Well, yeah, that's the sad bit is that he has saved it 3 years in a row from just disgrace.
Yeah,
and it's like if he does come back again next year, you have to put up like if Ja Morant doesn't do it, if Zion doesn't do it, I think he would beat Zion for sure. But Zion's a noted hyped up dunker, especially when he was coming through. If Giannis or someone who's a big name that can also dunk doesn't do it, then it just doesn't make sense.
Well, look, you'd love to see Aaron Gordon back in it. You'd love to see
but I don't think he's got it anymore. What is he? 30 years old now?
Yeah, but the thing about the dunk contest is that it's more about the theatrics and the show of it rather than the actual. The dunks have got to be good, but the theatrics is what makes a contest and what makes it probably the best thing on the All-Star weekend is the theatrics of it. People talk about Vince Carter's dunks. If you look at Vince Carter in that dunk contest that he did, wasn't that like special of a dunk? Now, maybe at the time it's different, but the whole theatrics of it, Dwight Howard, his dunks weren't out of this world, but the theatrics of it is what made it. And the Blake Griffin jumping over a car wasn't the best dunk. Jumped over the hood of the car, didn't even jump over the high part of it, but people remember it because of the theatrics surrounding it. And it just feels like these players are just walking up there, having done no research, done no thinking about what they're going to do. And it's like, oh, okay, I might do a through the legs
While we're talking about this, the guy that was throwing the ball off the backboard for all of them.
Yeah, that's
what a fucking travesty.
Again, takes the theatrics out of it. That's the problem. This guy is just like doing the same thing for all of them. Clearly, is trying to choreograph it with them. But
he was messing it up half the time.
Get Shaq to do it. Get someone from the crowd to do it. Like, you're taking the fun out of the contest by doing that. I get you're trying to create a better dunk, but half of it, like I said, is the whole show of it rather than the...
Well, yeah, and you've literally got like the best basketball players in the world sitting in the front row.
And they can't do it, yeah. So, yeah, I thought Mac McClung was unreal, but the rest of him just shocking, as per. But yeah, it's just like once every blue moon with that contest because, and it is the NBA don't try to do it. It's just that somehow every 5-6 years they lock into like.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't expecting Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon to produce that.
No,
but they did.
No,
so yeah, hopefully next year. I mean, yeah, everyone. I mean, Jar said he would do it, so hopefully he'll do it. We'll see. Remains to be seen.
Well, yeah, I think if they could convince like an Aaron Gordon. Or if they could do a Mac McClung, Derek Jones, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine. If they could get that, like an all-star, like a proper, like, all-time, like, modern greats in terms of dunk contest, in one dunk contest, no matter how bad they did, there would still be so much hype and so much around it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's probably something they should look at. But who knows? What about the three-point contest?
3-point contest. I don't even... Who won? I don't even remember who won.
Who did win? No, it was someone bad. It was someone that no one
Buddy got close, didn't he?
Buddy did get close.
Tyler Hero was in the mix.
No, it was Tyler Hero.
He won?
I think so.
Yeah, he did win. Well, oh my God. Okay, Tyler Hero won the 3-point contest.
Yeah, Tyler Hero did.
There you go.
Yeah. I think people expected... I think Dame was going for the three-peat. Was that right?
Yeah.
He didn't do too well. My boy Norman Powell was in it. He stunk it up. But yeah, I mean, Tyler Hero...
It's just like... without Steph, without Clay,
Steph,
it's just like...
Yeah. People... Yeah. When you don't have the best shooter in the game in it, it is an indictment on the contest because no one really believes that they're the best three-point shooter. Like, Buddy Hield was unbelievable that first round because that's what he is. He's a volume. Like, he's a microwave shooter. Like, he'll be cold for 10 shots and then hot for 10 shots. Like, that's how he is. So, yeah, I don't think that anyone believes that Tyler Hero's the best three-point shooter in the NBA. So, it's just how it is. But, yeah, it was okay. You can't really go wrong with a three-point contest because it's still entertaining no matter what. But, yeah, that's the All-Star weekend. Disappointing as per. Had some cool moments with the dunk contest, but the rest pretty much a joke. Moving on to sort of the actual NBA. I don't know if you've been watching the Lakers recently since they've acquired Luka.
I haven't seen much, but
I have.
Right.
Look, his impact on winning is clear. Like, he's impacting them, and look, they were doing great before him, but his impact on winning and his passing is incredible. He cannot hit a three to save his life, though.
Unless they're max difficulty.
He cannot hit he is... There's times when he's kind of open, and he's just hitting the side of the rim. Yeah. Like, he cannot hit a three to save his life. I think he's, like, 0 for 8, 1 for 7. Like, that, he's not hitting a three at all, and it's really bringing his field goal percentage down. But other than that, he's looking good.
Yes. He is looking good.
And you're on a bit of a win streak as well.
Yeah, I think we're like 8-2 since the trade or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking good. And the scary thing is that he, if you've watched Luka throughout his career, you'll know he's nowhere near his best right now.
No.
But he's still impacting winning. He obviously got the triple-double against the Mavs. I think he scored 30-something the game before that. But apart from those two games, he's been nowhere near his best.
No.
But we're still winning, and he's impacting winning, and everyone else is playing well around him. So the impact is clear. I would be lying if there wasn't like a little voice in my head where, lots of players' careers go to die at the Lakers.
That's stupid.
I know it's stupid, but...
And Mavs fans are doing it as well. It's like, when they obviously lost, I think it was 111, 102. It was a close game. It was within 10 points. But really, the Mavs were hanging around. they weren't the better team in that contest. But yeah, the Mavs fans were saying, well, wait till we get AD and Gafford and Lively back. It's like, you're never going to get 25 points out of Clay again. That was so lucky. Kyrie was unreal in that game. You're not going to get these type of performances from these players. Mavs still got a good team, but there is zero chance that you're going to get that level of play from your other players again.
I don't know. Kyrie's pretty good.
Kyrie's good, and Kyrie can do it, but Clay getting 25 and hitting every three known to man, you're not going to get that consistently over a 7-game series again. That's just not happening. So yeah, look, could the Mavs make it somewhat far in the playoffs? Maybe, but I don't see them, especially with AD out for a while and Lively out for a while. I don't see them really making a push for the playoff spots or the top 6 spots. The Clippers are floundering a bit, so that spot is open, but I don't think the Mavs are going to take it. I think there's plenty of teams in the West that can take it. Minnesota is one of them, and Golden State is another one who's on great form. Curry had 56 points the other day, hit 12 threes. I think the Warriors are probably looking most likely to take that 6th spot, and definitely over the Mavs, meaning that the Mavs are essentially locked into a play-in spot. And to get from the play-in, you've got to win the first game just to get out of it. But if you don't, you play another game, even the top 2 seeds. So it's a very tough place to get out of and then play in a playoff series against a top 4 seed or top 2 seed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's a cakewalk for them at all. You're going to have to be probably playing Denver. Maybe you get lucky, you get Memphis, but I doubt it at this point. I think it'll be a Denver, OKC, and I don't think you're getting past either of them. So, yeah. And Lakers could definitely shoot up into there, and that's probably what you're hoping for if you're the Mavericks. I think they suit up well.
Imagine that, Lakers-Mavs first round.
Well, I think if David Stern was still around, he would 1,000% rig it to make sure. There is no chance he's not rigging it to get Mavs-Lakers. Zero chance.
There's so many good potential matchups, like Lakers, Warriors, Lakers, anyone's just going to be...
Clippers, Grizzlies, I mean... That's
Clippers, Lakers, imagine if we finally get Clippers, Lakers this year.
It would be. It would be so... We're actually playing today, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be so on point the second we actually have given up on trying to win anything. We play you in the playoffs, even though we were built to beat you in the playoffs for so many years.
Yeah. I mean, is Kawhi... every time I watch Kawhi, he's getting 12 points. I feel like he's just cooked.
I don't think he's cooked. I just think everyone is resigned to the fact that, like I've said many times, he's got a degenerative knee. I think everyone's just resigned to it, and they're kind of like, okay. I'm just going to try and not get hurt.
Maybe he's adopting the Jimmy approach of just do not try in the regular season and just wait till the playoffs.
I think he is. I don't think he is exerting himself at all. He's not totally inefficient. He's putting up he's a good positive player to have in the team, but it's still it's not Kawhi Leonard. He's a shell of himself.
He is, yes.
He is, yes. He is.
He is, yes.
But no, yes. It is shaping up quite well.
It's I mean the West. I feel like we've got the 10 teams locked in now. I can't see Phoenix improving.
Sacramento. Are they? How far ahead are they?
They're 3.5 games ahead of Phoenix.
I think that's enough. I think if they were 1 or 2 games, you'd say, look, if Phoenix can somehow pull it together for a stretch, and play together for a stretch, I think they could do it. But yeah, Sacramento looking okay. They'll fall into the 10th spot, but I mean, I don't think anyone expects them unless they play the Clippers or something like that. I don't think anyone expects them to win a play-in game. So.
Yes, but I mean, someone out of Minnesota or Dallas or the Clippers or the Warriors is going to end up missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hectic.
Yeah. Well, I think the Warriors are a shoe in it.
Yeah, I mean, the Warriors are probably, I would say after OKC, right now, Lakers are probably 2, Warriors are probably 3 in most people's minds in the conference.
After OKC?
Yeah.
You think Denver's not ahead of those?
Okay, maybe Denver. But even Denver, I'm like...
No. No. Denver are clearly... I think it's clear... There's a clear 1 and 2, and then there's a drop-off.
I don't know.
I think
Denver aren't as good as they were a couple
I think
years ago.
OKC Denver definitely. No one would be shocked if you said either of those.
Even
would won the
OKC,
championship.
like there is a chance that
No, I agree, but they're still a good team.
once in the playoffs, once they stop calling fouls, Shea could just go to trash. You know.
No, I get that, but I just think there's zero chance that. Like, my point is, if either of those won a championship at the end of the year, you wouldn't be like, oh, no way. No way. There's no way Denver won. Like, you wouldn't say...
No.
But, like, if the Lakers won, you'd be shocked.
No, no, I would not be
Yes,
shocked.
you would.
No, I would not.
Yes, you would.
How would I?
Jackson Hayes is your starting...
Okay. Well, we've got Len Sanity as well, so...
Oh, that guy's the worst player I've ever seen in my life. He hasn't played since his first game.
He's getting DMPs to Jackson Hayes, so...
Yeah. I think people would be shocked if you said the Lakers won.
I don't think they would.
I think you would.
Luka and LeBron.
Luka and LeBron, bro.
And
Look at
Reeves.
this. Look, you're a great defensive team at the moment.
And we lost our best defensive player, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. I get that, but you're still, even like I said, if you're playing a Denver, you've showed that you can beat them. But are you going to be able to stop Jokic consistently?
No, but no one can stop Jokic. No one can stop Luka.
If you're playing a Mavericks and if they come through the play-in, and
Mavericks.
you're like, I think there's a genuine chance that you lose that series.
There's no way in hell we lose to the Mavs.
I think there is a genuine chance.
No way in hell.
Anthony Davis would get 20,000 offensive rebounds against you.
No, LeBron would little bro him. LeBron would get in the
LeBron
post.
a little bro. Yeah, sure
he
he
would.
would. Yeah,
He
yeah,
would.
Yeah.
He would.
I just think you don't have enough versatility to win in the finals. Or win it consistently in the playoffs.
I mean, the East, I think we beat everyone in the East.
I don't think you come close to the Cavs or Boston.
The Cavs?
Mobley and Jared Allen. Have you seen Jared Allen?
The Cavs reek of
Jared
being
Allen would literally get... I'm not even kidding. He would get 20... He would average 20 rebounds a game against you.
But the Cavs just reek of a really good regular season team that...
Because you don't like any of their star players. You don't think
I do. I love Donovan Mitchell.
But they've got... Like, their starting lineup is like all... like fringe all-star level players, at least.
Yeah, they are. But none of them have achieved anything when it really matters, have they?
Yeah, but that's because they're young. They're coming
young.
through. I mean, Mitchell isn't, but the rest of them are.
Jared
How
Allen's
old's
been in the
Mobley?
league like 10 years.
What?
Jared Allen's been in the league.
No, he hasn't.
He was definitely on Brooklyn in like 2016, 2017.
That's not 10 years, is it?
Okay, well, close to it.
He's 26.
26, there you go.
He's young.
Middle-aged player.
He's not even in his prime
He's
yet.
a middle-aged player.
He's about entering his prime for a center.
Anyway, Boston. Okay, Boston. I don't know if we can beat Boston, but Porzingis, is he healthy? I feel like he's injured all the time.
Yeah, but
I haven't watched any Boston games.
They'll
but
make him right.
I'm assuming he's injured. And then, I mean, the East is just fucking pathetic.
Yeah, but you've got to get out of the West first.
You do have to get out the West. Obviously, that's the first priority. And I like our chances. As long as we don't draw Denver. Okay, I will say Denver is our kryptonite. I know we just beat them pretty easily in the last game we played, but over the past 2 years, I think we're 2-15 against them or something like that.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll see. I'm really excited for the West playoffs. I am, especially because the Clippers have no chance in hell, so I have no reason to have any hope whatsoever.
But maybe that's where they want to be.
Yeah. Who knows?
Right where they want to be.
Norman Powell, Finals MVP. Who knows?
With Benjamin on the team, it's
Ben
just
Simmons,
it's looking up. How many has he played more than 2 games?
I think so. I don't even watch it really anymore. I mean, we're treading. I mean, this team should be the 12th seed. It's not. So fair play to them. But yeah, I have zero hope for them. Anyway,
I think we one more team we can touch on in the East just for being a diabolical construction of a team is Philly. I think they're officially just not going to make the playoffs at this point.
Did you see the news this morning?
No.
Embiid's out for the rest of the year.
Oh, is he?
So
with an injury, or have they just shut him down?
I think it's an injury. I think I can't remember exactly, but it might just be due to the surgery to get. Because I think that was the talk for a while that he kind of can get surgery to end the season.
Right. Well, that just caps off a great year for them.
They suck.
So
yeah, They absolutely
Yeah,
are.
probably one. I think this might be the biggest franchise torpedo ever in the NBA.
Well, they should tank. They should absolutely tank. Because
With what picks?
Because the problem is they have their pick this year, but it's top 6 protected. So if it goes outside the top 6, it goes to OKC, of course. But if it's within the top 6, they keep it. And this is a really good draft. If you have a shot at Cooper Flag, then you're not just...
They're not going to get Cooper Flag.
With the new draft lottery system, you could be the 5th, 6th worst team in the East or in the league, and then, move up to that number 1. The number 1's not sort of out of reach like it was in previous years. So I absolutely think they can, and you got to put your hat in the ring to have a chance at it. What is the point in pushing for this point? At this point, what is the point?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, because Paul George, aka Podcast P, said that he's quitting podcasting for this year.
For this year?
Yeah, he's essentially taken a break to focus on the team and push them towards a championship. This is his words.
this brother, I mean, well, when Paul George went there, I think everyone said that was a horrific signing, giving him a 4-year max.
Yeah, well, the Clippers refused to do it for good reason. And look, this is the thing, Philly. If the Clippers refuse to give him a 4-year max, when they have 0 picks and no reason to tank whatsoever, maybe that's a bit of an indication that they think he's not worth that at all.
No, but I think most people still thought he would be like a fringe level all-star player this year at the very least.
For the next 2 years,
but
people thought it was a good deal.
He's not even, he's just a bad NBA player at this point. Like, his efficiency is so bad. He's averaging 16 points a game, I think, which is the worst in 12 years for him or something. He's
and it's not like he's got Embiid every week to take shots off him. Like, he's got plenty of Maxey takes a shit ton of shots, but that's about it. McCain's out for the year.
This is, the fall off needs to be studied, and there's a direct correlation between podcasting and this fall off. So
yeah, well, he can't beat a man. He has no athleticism. It's like his knee injury has finally caught up to him. After all these years, it's finally hit him.
But where's the jump shot gone,
But that's the thing. He can't, he's forced to take all these contested jump shots because he can't, drive to the basket past anyone anymore.
But he was making those 5 years ago. Yeah,
because they weren't as contested as they are now. People can just stand in front of him and just go straight up. They don't have to really defend it. It's like Melo. Melo could still make those contested shots and make contested shots throughout his career. But prior to, being in, LA and shit, he could get to the basket. And so he would, make the defense a bit more cautious about pressing up too tight to him. But now Paul George and Carmelo at the end of his career just were so inefficient because they have zero ability to get to the basket. So yeah, I don't have any faith that the Philly are going to even make the play, and never mind
would
to the playoffs.
Would you think about trading Embiid? I mean,
what's his value? What are you trading him for?
But there's a team that would give up a lot for Embiid.
No, they wouldn't.
Someone would.
Someone would give up. Who would give up? Are you saying the Thunder would give up anything?
No, not the Thunder. They've got 2 good centers, but I don't know who would. Maybe Indiana. I feel like they give up.
Embiid saying the offseason that he would never play for it, he was
or a Bucks. I feel like that fits the timeline for the Bucks. Lopez and
what are they giving up?
Lopez.
You're giving up Lopez and
Bobby Portis.
A first. You're not going to hemorrhage your future for Embiid at this point. It'd have to be for players.
Yeah, well, I mean, how much? What's Embiid's value? The Heat. I'd trade Bam for Embiid.
You wouldn't. No,
I would trade Bam for Embiid.
Wouldn't.
I would.
The Heat would never in a million years.
I would do that if I was
the
the
Heat. Would never in a million years.
I would do that.
Yeah,
I think Bam has reached his ceiling, and if anything, is regressing.
Embiid is so injury prone. It's not even funny. There is zero market for him. There is zero. You can't make the contracts work with basically anyone. I mean, a Thunder. No, it's not a Thunder. A Rockets. I could maybe see if you get him with. I don't know if you
Sengun.
trade. You've got. You can maybe
Jabari Smith.
Yeah, you could trade a Jabari Smith. Maybe, I don't know, a Dylan Brooks as well. You can make the salaries work with that because you've got Van Vliet on a lot of money. You've got Dylan Brooks on a lot of money. you can make the salaries work with that. But yeah, I don't see a team really other than that that's going to make a move for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so I guess their only real option is to pray for Cooper Flag. Because if they somehow manage to get the first overall pick, then you're like, oh my God, Philly is so back here. But
we are so back.
If they don't get a good draft pick and they're just stuck with this fucking abomination of a team, then they've got to do something. I mean, Maxi's obviously a very good player, but he obviously looks like he doesn't really impact winning.
Well, he has terrible games. Like, he'll lose you a game. I think the other day I saw he had like a 2 for 15. Like, he can really stink it up. So, yeah, I think he's a good player, but is he going to be... If he's your guy, if he's the guy that's taking 20 shots a game for you, you're in trouble. So, yeah, it's just a case of they have nowhere to go unless they tank. And that's the only... Like, what is the point, like I said, of getting into playing? You lose your pick, you're going to have nothing for this year. You have no salary cap to improve the team. What are you hoping? Jared McCain comes in next year and all of a sudden you're a top 4 seed? I mean...
Dances you all the way to the finals.
Paul George has been somewhat healthy this year. And you're still like this bad. And Paul George can have a season ender. He's not against it. So...
He's very open to it.
This is as best you're going to get it. So I don't get really going for it at this point. But it seems like they are, which is crazy.
But he's off the podcasting.
Yeah, because he's focusing on winning a championship.
It's like a crack addict just, stopping being a crack addict.
No. He's gonna make a guest appearance every other show. He'll be that. But you get it from the standpoint that people within that building are doing it for their jobs. They don't give... Like, does Nick Nurse give a fuck if the Sixers get a good pick if it means he gets fired? No. But if he can get into the play-in somehow and then somehow get into the playoffs and then somehow get to the conference finals, maybe he keeps his job and he can sort of find a way to convince ownership, hey, look at these injuries that we had this year. If we bring the same team back next year, we can win.
Well, I mean, that's where the front office have to go to him and say, we're going to make a decision here that it's best for you to not win any more games this year.
That's why they should fire him.
Well, no, we'll say, look, your job's safe. We want you to lose, but your job's safe. But we'll give you one more year, and if you stuff it up, then you go.
But they won't do that. They should fire him and put the assistant in charge and say, just do your best, mate. Do your best. Probably not going to do that well.
Is Nick Nurse that bad?
I think so. I mean, what has he done after his championship?
Well, look here. I mean, he still had a couple good years with the Raptors, but
he was looking like the future sort of best coach in the NBA after what he did.
That was his first season as head coach. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and then after that, it's just stinky, really stinky. So yeah, it's not looked great with the Sixers so far, but yeah, there's no hope for them at all. So I mean,
no,
what's
not.
The point?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. What do you want to move on to next?
Moving on, we've got the NRL starting tomorrow. The season kicks off. Very exciting times. We can talk a little bit about the upcoming season, thoughts, predictions, anything like that. Vegas, what you've thought of it?
Look, the Vegas teams aren't the most exciting ones from my perspective, but they've got to mix it up. I get it. You want as many teams as much exposure out there. Yeah, hopefully it goes well. They're saying that I mean, Peter V'landys is wanting Trump out there. I don't know if he's going to come, but they're getting. I don't know. I don't know who they're going to get out there.
I saw that a sponsor of the NRL withdrew from being a sponsor of the NRL because they were wanting Trump to go to the NRL game misaligns with our core values as a company or something. So
they have shit like that. You're gonna have shit like that. You're gonna have, and that's the thing with rugby league. You're gonna have people that are offended that it's in Vegas in the first place. You're gonna have people that don't want exposure to the game. They just want it to be like the 70s in park footy, where all the players hung out with the fans after the game and drank beers in the pub, and spinned old yarns about the glory days of the 40s. It's not going to be like that. And they're trying to globally expand the game. So I don't hate the Vegas thing, and I think it's a good opportunity for fans to go out to Vegas and have a good time. I think the goal at the end of the day is to sort of bring, Americans fans' attention, obviously, and not have it so reliant on sort of Australian fans flying over rather than, American fans just watching the game. So yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see if that sort of grows over a period of time. I think they've locked in a multi-year contract with Vegas, so yeah.
And it's, apparently they're getting 15,000 Americans down there, 50,000 in total to the game. So, that's a pretty solid result for a sport that, no one over there really knows about. So it's looking, and it positions the NRL to be the sort of most talked about sport in Australia, at least. Yeah. Like no one's talking about the AFL right now.
Well, the way that it was done last year was exceptional. I think in terms of like how it could have gone wrong, but it didn't. Like players could not have cared about. They thought about it. So the functionality of it is so hard. Like how do you position it? Like do you make it a preseason game or do you make it an actual fixture? But I like the way it's been done, and I think it's having it as round one. I think's the smart thing to do. It gets the players to really care about it and have an impact on it. And yeah, it's just an experience. You hear about it, and that's the main thing. You want exposure about it. And now we hear about it in Australia, but like I said, the main goal is to sort of get it heard about over there. Which hopefully they do. It's got to, I think their strategy is it's going to happen over a multi-year process. And I think, look, there's nothing going against that right now. I don't think.
Yeah.
There's anything
and I think that they obviously have asked, Donald Trump, I highly doubt will be there, but
Dana White said he wasn't going to be there as well, didn't he?
Yeah, so they did want Dana. I think Canberra wanted Dana to blow the horn, but I think there's most likely a UFC card on the same time, so you're probably not going to get Dana to go to the NRL over the UFC.
Yeah.
But
which is, otherwise he might have done it.
Yeah.
You never know.
He loves being, he loves boys club things, so.
Anyway, in terms of season predictions, who's your title predictor?
Title predictor, now obviously
Penrith fan over
here, 4 in a row, going for 5 in a row. Doesn't even sound real to be saying that sort of thing.
But you won 4 in a row? I thought it was 3.
4. Like, men were boys the last time someone other than Penrith won a comp.
Right.
Like, they don't even know what it looks like, what it feels like.
You haven't had a 20-year dynasty.
5.
It's 4 years.
Plus a GF, 5-year dynasty.
No, that's not a... If you get to the GF and lose, it's not a dynasty.
We were Cam Smith away from 5 in a row. So...
You conceded 30 points in the first half. I don't know what you're yapping about.
Yeah, because of Cam Smith. So...
Come on. You were horrendous.
Anyway, you're going to shit talk someone who's just won 4 comps in a row.
You were like 12 points down with a minute to go, and Cleary just got like a last-minute try.
Yeah,
and then you're like, we were 6 points away. Bro, you would like... Actually,
we were had a chance to tie it up. So anyway, we've won 4 comps in a row. So there's no shit talking here that can be had.
Well, what do you make of sort of Jack Cole? And I think that's the main talking point.
I mean the team selection for round 1 is a bit interesting from Ivan.
I wouldn't have gone with Jack. He's obviously showing loyalty, and I want to get your sort of point of view on it. But my point of view is, if you bring Talangi in, clearly he's got the talent, and he's probably the long term guy there. Now Jack Cole's young, but who do you have more confidence in long term? Is it Talangi or?
Well, yeah, I mean Jack Cole he's mid, so he's a Sean O'Sullivan. He's a Jack Cogger, that sort of elk of player.
He's not going to hurt you when Cleary's on the side.
Yeah, but he's mid. He's not a good player. He's not a great. He's he couldn't shine Luai's shoes. So.
Well, that's harsh.
He's he's not bad. Blaze Talangi is obviously the future. I've heard apparently he had shoulder reconstruction surgery and he hasn't had the best sort of preseason, so maybe they just didn't want to rush him into it. I didn't realize how young he was. I think he's still only 19.
Talangi?
Yeah. Fuck. But because he played a full season in first grade last year, I thought he was like 2021.
Yeah. I thought he was like 22.
Yeah. So 19 years old is crazy. Like he could play this whole year in reserve grade and still be sweet. So yeah, we'll see how he goes. I do think he will be playing 6 at some point. But then the rest of the team, I thought, because Toto's obviously out this week with a hammy injury. Paul Alamotti is playing on the wing, and Luke Garner's been named at centre. So I thought Blaze Talangi, if he wasn't going to play 6, you'd throw him in at centre instead of Luke Garner, but he hasn't even got the centre spot. So interesting. interesting selections. And Isaiah Papali'i, the other big signing, he's missed out on a starting spot.
Wow.
He's on the bench. So, some interesting choices from Ivan. I mean, you can't question him. He knows what he's doing, obviously.
No, you can't.
So, yeah, look, interesting to see how it plays out. In terms of where we fit for the title, from what I've seen from every, journo, anyone that does predictions, really, they all have us not winning the comp.
Yeah, but because everyone's trying to be different, though.
No, but they're all... That it's different to say we are going to win the comp because everyone's saying we're not going to win the comp. You know what I'm saying?
Because no one wants to predict a 5-beat, do they?
Well, I think they should if they believe it.
But what I'm saying, I think most people predicted that Penrith would win last year.
Maybe, but yeah, what I'm saying is most people this year think that the Luai and Fisher-Harris emissions are going to be the ones that finally do us
break
in.
The camel's back.
Yeah. And I don't see it that way.
Shock.
Shockingly, I don't see it that way.
The team does look considerably worse, though. Like, you look at your forwards, it's not what it was. It feels like you've had luck, outside of really Cleary getting injured, you haven't had to sort of rely on extreme level of depth. Especially in that forward pack. You've had Fisher-Harris, you've had Leota, you've had them relatively healthy, and Yo relatively healthy for a while now. But you lost Lanyu, so you didn't feel it. When you lost Lanyu, you didn't feel it, really. But you lose Fisher-Harris, you obviously lost Lanyu. Is Garner going to be who's your other pro? Is it...
This Lindsay and Moses.
Yeah. Which is
Lindsay is an Australian rep, so...
Oh, shut up. But that's my point. Your bench players were great in their bench roles. And I think it just takes time to see. Are they going to be good enough to elevate into and replace a guy like Fisher-Harris? Eventually, it's not going to work. And it's just, what year are you predicting it? It's not going to work. And that's why all dynasties fall apart at the end of the day. It's because they can't sustain the level of talent they're losing.
Yes, I mean, that is true. But my belief in Nathan Cleary when he's fit and healthy is just so unwavering.
Well, that's a concern. You don't have Luai to...
Luai wasn't winning us those games. He was winning us the shit ones in the middle of the season when Cleary wasn't there.
Yeah.
But he wasn't winning us those big games in finals.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. But you need to win those shit games to get a top 2 seed, to get home field advantage in the first round, which is proven for many years. That's what you need to win a title, is to get home field first round so you get that bye and just have another game to get to the final.
Yeah, and well, to be fair, if he doesn't get injured, that won't be an issue. It's only been a thing because he's been getting injured every year.
Yeah, well, it's like AD. It's like, well, if only if AD doesn't get injured every year, he'd be the greatest player of all time. Well, he gets injured every year, so it's hard to sort of say that he doesn't. Imagine a world where he's not. So, yeah, that's the problem. I think if Cleary's healthy the whole year, I think you still make top 2 seed. But if he's not, are you Jack Cole, Blaise Salongi in the halves? Is that or Schneider?
Brad Schneider, yeah.
You're
obviously okay? If Cleary's out for an extended period of time, we're obviously going to struggle. That is, that's obvious. It all hinges on Cleary. But if the main man is there, he will deliver.
Yeah, and look, that's the main part. The main reason why I still think that you're definitely a contender still is the fact that you win based off culture, and the way that you win is not purely talent-based. It's based on just mentally driving your opponent into the ground. And that doesn't change when players move in and out, and when you promote players through the system. Because those players that you promote through the system carry that same belief and mantra. So I don't think it's a case of that you will lose your playing style and you'll lose your style of play. However, I think you're going to be in a lot more sort of 12-8 games than you have been in previous years. And I still have faith, especially if Cleary's healthy, that you'll win those close games. But you're not going to be you're not going to be scoreboard dominating teams like you were in the past. You might be physically dominating them, but scoreboard wise, I think it's going to be tough to create points if you don't have a key player on your team. But everyone's picking Melbourne at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think every single person's picking Melbourne.
Which, fair, they were so close last year, and they looked really good throughout that year, even when they had major injuries to that team. They've got great depth in case Pappenhausen gets injured again. Obviously, they've got that young kid that came through. Was it Far-Largo?
Yeah. So added Stefano.
Yeah. They obviously added Stefano. Bit overrated so far in his career, I think. I mean, he's been hyped up as the next best thing. We'll see if he has that, especially in Melbourne's system. But, yeah, they're a great team, and I fully expect them to get top 2. I think he'll be the same, probably top 2 as last year. And, yeah, I think we'll wait to see.
Yes. And, I mean, the Roosters, your team, they've probably been the team that's predicted to have the biggest fall-off from anyone.
Well, yeah, I've seen that in every media cycle. Look, we've lost players.
Lots of players.
Yeah. I think we've lost lots of players. But that's the nature of it. And everyone's taking, preseason like it's gospel. But, I mean, every team that's won the preseason challenge hasn't made the 8. So, and that's the thing. Teams like the Knights and the Dragons care about preseason because that's their time to win. The Storm didn't win their preseason. I think, look, losing by that margin is not great. And you still maybe have questions about the team, but it's going to be tough, and it's going to be tough for anyone to sort of, or predict anyone that's going to beat Melbourne or Penrith, but we still got talent in that team.
Do you think you're still going to make the 8?
Yeah, 100%. People are saying, that's the thing. You hear about these media outlets, well, the Roosters aren't going to make it, but the Tigers are going to make it. Shut up. You add Luai, really good player, but is that going to save your team? And Benji Marshall, he's got questions. Like, he's not didn't show off like a messiah last year in coaching. Like, he wasn't.
He's no JJ Redick.
Yeah, he's no JJ Redick. So, and this is the nature of the preseason. Nobody knows. Nobody actually knows. It's just you're making your opinions. Like, these journalists just have opinions, and they have favourite teams, and they want to stamp on these bold facts to get clicks. So, I mean, if you think the Tigers are going to make the 8, then fair play. But
I mean, I don't think that's a crazy shout. That, like, yes, they've added Luai, but they've also added Taruva. They've also added Terrell May. They've also added Royce Hunt. Like, they've added a lot of players. They've improved
their team, but I think it takes more than 3 players to go from 16th to top 8. They have been miles off. I think you've got to take it in steps. Like the Bulldogs, they were rock bottom for years. Then they moved up to 12th. Or they moved up to 13th. Then they moved up to like 9th, 10th. And then they moved up. Did you not?
No. They went from like 13th to 6th last year.
Okay. Well, they got to move up past 16th first. I think you've got to have some realistic expectations. You add these players, great, but who knows if it's going to work out? You're not guaranteed success with these players. Like, you're not bringing in Cam, like Luai, great player, but you haven't brought in Cam Munster. You haven't brought Cam Munster, Dylan Edwards, and
Edwards,
3 other Origin players in your team. You've brought in really good players, but you've still paying a lot of wooden spoon players for the past, 5-6 years. So, look, there's not me hating on the Tigers. I just think people like to make bold predictions in preseason when in reality, for most years, teams move up. Maybe one team shocks everyone, and that's what most people are trying to predict is that shocking team. But for most of the seasons, it's like teams move back 2-3 spots, teams might move up 2-3 spots. So it's not really sort of changing that dramatically, I think.
Okay.
Who knows?
I wouldn't be shocked if the Tigers do well. I don't know about making the 8, but I would not be shocked if
I think of course they'll improve. When you add 4 quality players, you're going to improve. But it's just, will they be able to make the jump to the 8?
Yeah.
Question.
Do you have a prediction for the spoon? I have honestly no idea. I feel like it's pretty even sort of race.
I actually don't.
For me, it's probably the Knights or Raiders, but
Ricky always keeps the Raiders in it though.
I know, but
you always think the Raiders, in terms of roster quality, aren't there, but they always find a way to be hanging around the 8. What did you say? Dragons? Did you?
Knights.
Knights are sort of everyone's team that they're predicting to sort of make the wooden spoon, but I honestly don't have an answer. The Tigers obviously have been that team that everyone has predicted for years and years, but you're not going to predict them again.
It's just hard because, like, I mean, I could see the Titans winning it, but I could also see them not. Dolphins, I could see the Dolphins winning it.
Yeah, I could see a Dolphins, maybe even like a Warriors.
Like they have no halves.
You lose. You obviously add a great player in Fish, so maybe that mitigates it. But you lose Sean Johnson,
Fanua Blake.
So, and Fish and Fanua Blake, pretty even swap, and they weren't great last year. So that's probably one of my picks. Probably Titans are is the one that I'd probably go with, just based on roster and how that team's looked over the past couple of years. But it could absolutely be the Warriors or whoever. But yeah, I'll go Titans.
Titans? Okay. Fair enough.
Fair play.
Fair enough.
Any UFC news you want to yap about?
UFC news? Well, it's just exciting for Australian UFC fans.
Is it? It's very exciting.
Did you see?
No,
you didn't. Well, okay. Well, Volk is fighting Diego Lopez for the featherweight title.
I did see that because Topuria moved up.
Topuria has not relegated. He's given up his belt. I don't know the word I'm looking for.
Look,
relinquished.
I hate to say it, but if Volk loses again,
oh yeah,
can we just give up?
Oh yeah, he should retire if he loses. But yeah, Topuria wants to be Conor McGregor so fucking bad. He defended the belt one time and gave it up. So that's just pathetic, weak mindset. But anyway, it gives Volk an opportunity against Lopez. It's a winnable fight, but it's also a losable fight. So it's yeah. But anyway, he gets a fight for the belt. So we could go from 2024 was maybe the worst year for UFC Australian fighters. Lots of losing between Whittaker, Volk, Ty, whoever else. Jack Della Maddalena was injured the whole year. Speaking of Jack Della Maddalena, that was the other fight. He's going to be fighting Bilal Muhammad for the welterweight title.
Please win.
He's going to knock him out. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that he doesn't win that fight.
And are these on the same night?
No. Okay. Different nights. So, but in the space of, 2 months, we could have 2 Australian champions again.
Scenes.
Which is going to be epic. We're definitely going to have one. Jack Della Maddalena is going to fuck up Bilal Muhammad.
We say this every time.
No, but, I mean, he just is.
He needs to do it for the sport.
He just is.
You need to do it for the sport. This is more than for yourself.
Because he's not not to call a UFC fighter a pussy, but he's not a pussy. Like Leon, when Leon got up against Bilal, he was just not doing anything, like a little, And Jack Della Maddalena, as soon as he gets up, is going to be throwing heat. No, I don't. But in UFC terms, obviously he would kill me. But
probably the craziest comeback win in UFC history.
Yeah, but let's be honest, that was luck.
Was it? Yeah. I knocked him out.
Sounds like I'm the biggest Leon hater, but he's not doing that again.
Didn't he beat him again as well? Didn't he beat Usman again?
He did beat him again. It was a very close decision. But yes, he did beat him again.
Right. And he's a puss.
I mean, when you lose to Bilal Muhammad, you're not that good. I'm sorry.
But it's like Bilal Muhammad wins through like cheesing. Like he's a classic. Just I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do the bare minimum it takes to win.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, Leon was not aggressive enough in that fight. He was accepting of being on bottom and just accepting a decision loss, essentially. And that's what he did against Usman until he fucking landed that head kick.
But he landed it.
He did. But he will never do it again.
Yeah, well, someone needs to get Bilal out of there. So.
And Jack Della Maddalena, as soon as he gets space, he's going to fucking throw on this dude, and he's going to connect at some point over 5 rounds, and he's going to finish it.
So when is it?
I think it's in 2 months or 3 months.
Okay.
I believe it's in Canada.
Bit weird.
Yes. But anyway, obviously Shavkat was meant to be fighting Bilal, but he's still injured. So they gave... And speaking of Leon, Jack was originally booked to fight Leon in the main event at London. They pulled him off that card and gave him to Bilal for the belt. So he gets a free upgrade.
Okay, not bad.
And then, Leon's now going to be fighting Sean Brady, who I'm sure you know a lot about. Yes.
No.
He's essentially just Bilal Muhammad, but a little bit worse.
Great.
So
fantastic.
Great matchup for Leon. But yeah, so that's the great news, is that we will potentially have 2 Aussie UFC champions within the next 3 months.
Fantastic news.
And hopefully they can fucking book them to fight in Australia while they're champions.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's proven to be too much to ask, but you'd hope that they could get that done potentially once in the company's history.
Anyways.
Anyway, that's about it, I think.
That's about it. Well, look, thanks for listening, everyone. Great podcast. I think dissecting the NBA was part of it. It was a major part of this podcast today. Major part.
Major part.
Hopefully, yeah, we get some more exciting things. Not probably going to be NBA-wise because this is the part of the season that gets just everyone bored. And we're kind of heading into the period of boringness and everything because the Prem isn't really interesting at this point. We didn't touch on it simply because Liverpool are going to win the title. There's nothing to touch about.
No touching needed.
No touching. But yeah, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace out. Like and subscribe. You going to say anything?
Bye.